We're rolling.
Testing.
No, we've already done the test. Do you want to test again? Testing.
All right, let's go.
All right.
What are we saying?
Welcome back to episode 2 of the YouTubes.
That's so many words to say. Welcome back to episode 2. We'll do that part together.
Okay, ready?
And you continue.
Okay.
Welcome back to episode 2.
Today, we're talking about the demo, which was a huge part of this project.
Massive.
Probably the biggest part of the project, even now to this date, I would say.
Easily.
When we bought the place, it was a dump. Anyone who watched last week's episode, full walkthrough of how the house looked, and that is how we bought it, right?
Yeah, so important to note, we purchased the property as is. The previous owners basically left everything here, so their kitchen was fully stocked and equipped. There was clothing in the wardrobe, there were appliances scattered throughout the property. He had 4 goldfish. I think it's important to note too, that also gave us a little bit of negotiating power when it came to putting in our offer. Just to get this property up to scratch, to even put it to market, it was probably going to cost like 60, maybe even 70 grand. That's just, and that's nothing crazy, just to clear out the crap that was in the property and fix up the holes in the gyprock.
The holes in the floor, get the mold out, and yeah, just to get it to a standard where someone could actually live in here safely. So basically, got the keys, and then we straight away started moving everything from inside the house out to the garage. So fortunately, this place has a pretty large garage out the back, and we were able to store most of the large appliances out there, and then organize council cleanup. So the council cleanups are really good for getting rid of, there was mattresses, they come and collect there. So the council cleanup got a lot of that big bulky waste, which was really handy and saved us a lot of money. So that's definitely something worth utilizing. I don't know if they have those overseas.
Once we'd cleared all the big items out of the house and into the garage, and we'd basically just had like a bare shell of a home, we got someone in to give us a quote on the demo, and it was going to cost us about 40 grand to strip the property back to brick and frame. That was a big shock to the system, and we thought, oh gosh, we don't really have that kind of money right now to spend on a demo. Maybe we should do it ourselves.
We started just moving stuff ourselves, and we sort of had it in the back of our mind, for the time being, we'll just get going with it, and then if we get to a point where it's too much, we can pay what we need to get things done. But if we can save money doing it ourselves, we will. And we sort of maintain that to this day. Everything that we can do, we will do, and what we can't, we'll outsource. So after we'd gotten everything out of the house, as you've seen, there was a pretty extreme leaks throughout the ceiling and roof space. So there was water coming in from all the lights. There was a fireplace right there, a chimney up there. So we basically had to patch anything that penetrated through the concrete tiles in the ceiling. So anything that penetrated through the concrete tiles on the roof, it was leaking. So we had an old hot water tank up there for solar hot water. We pulled all them down, patched those tiles up. What else did we have up there?
The chimney.
We had the chimney going through, so we started folding that in, tiled over that, and then resheeted up the top.
The old school TV antenna.
Yeah, there was a really big antenna. Because where we are is a hilly area, the antenna was up really high, and then it has a couple of wires like just to hold it in place. So all of those, we removed all those. And yeah, started cleaning it up and making it watertight from the top down, basically.
Back then we didn't realise how bad the roof actually was. We were under the impression that we were going to get a roof restoration, which basically turned to shit. Once we'd gotten the place watertight, we started stripping out the kitchen, which was horrific. It was disgusting. So
the fridge was full of moldy stuff.
The cupboards were packed full of food. It was really horrible. It's actually kind of sad to think that someone was living in those sorts of conditions. So anyway, but I've got footage of Tom pulling the sink out, and he's gagging because of the smell. It was
so bad. Even these cupboards had all sorts of random stuff in there that we had to pull out and clean out. And we were fortunate, we actually used the red bin. I don't know where people are watching this from, but the red bin's the general house waste. We put most of that sort of stuff in the red bin. Obviously you can't put building construction waste in a red bin, so you're limited to what you can do there.
Once we'd cleared everything out of the property and we just had the shell, we got the property tested for asbestos. So given the age of the property, it was built in the 60s. It was extended like 2 or 3 times over the course of its life, but back then they used a lot of asbestos, which I don't know where people are from, but that's a very hazardous material. People end up with all sorts of respiratory issues such as asbestosis. I think that's how you pronounce it. So Tom's mate Mitch, he's been an absolute godsend. He came out, he owns a occupational hygienist company, so they do a lot of hazardous testing and things like that. He came out and took 14 samples from around the property.
So the parts that we wanted to get tested for asbestos were the parts where we knew it was commonly used in older houses. So that would be the gables, so the end of the house where the roof sort of stays pitched, that that part that sort of butts up sideways. So he tested that for us. All the eaves, so the eaves was another thing where they pretty much used it entirely for eaves. The walls, ceilings, we had vinyl flooring all through here, so we wanted to get that tested. They used to have a backing on it that was an asbestos, old just scrappy building material from around the house and under the house, which we weren't sure what that was. Wanted to get that tested. Even the meter box panel as well. That actually is still asbestos, so that's something that we are going to have professionally removed.
A lot of people were really concerned about that when we were stripping it out, but don't worry, we had everything tested.
Yeah, just basically make sure when we go to remove things, we're not getting a huge tipping fee, because the tipping fee is significantly more expensive if they test it and find that there is asbestos in there, which funnily enough, there's another story for another day about that. We wanted to make sure of all that, and Mitch tested everything for us and made sure everything was clear, and what wasn't clear we were aware of.
Very important you don't start just stripping a house, get things tested, because it really is quite dangerous, and particularly if you've got kids and young people running around, making sure that they're safe too. And we were all geared up, like we had masks and suits on, and because you just can't be too careful with this kind of thing. So definitely get things tested.
And even if it wasn't asbestos, like if we knew that there was some parts that were asbestos in the front of the house that weren't at the back, we're still going to wear masks, because who knows how long that's been sitting there. There could have been fibers that had floated around and gotten on other parts of the house. So we were very cautious with our PPE throughout the whole thing.
And we opted to vacuum instead of dust. Little things like that, dust suppression with water, like all these little things helped throughout this whole demo process.
Once we had everything tested and we knew what was what, then we started doing the fun part, which is ripping everything out.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun.
There was parts of that were pretty fun.
It was hard work, I tell you what.
So we ripped all the doors off, and then we started doing all the flooring. So all the front part of the house and in the bedroom was all old carpet. It was disgusting.
Carpet with like really old school underlay, so it was really quite thick. It also revealed that we had like old school cypress pine in the first part of the house, which is pretty cool. And then it was basically like lino from the second part of the house onwards. So, and that just had like chipboard underneath. So in the second part of the house, which was pretty gross. After
we'd started removing all the flooring and doors, we started to accumulate a big pile of crap. And we ended up ordering our first skip bin. So we got a 15 meter cube skip bin. So it was 10 meters by 2 meters by 1.5. Pretty massive skip bin. We got that dumped on the driveway and then started throwing everything in there.
And by throwing it, we actually really neatly stacked everything, because we wanted to optimize every little nook and cranny in this skip bin, because there was so much stuff to come out of this house. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
So we were like laying carpet really well, and to be honest, it was like a big game of Tetris, but it definitely paid off.
It definitely did pay off. Each skip bin was about $3,000. So that was dropped off. We could fill it up to the top level of it, and then it would get taken away. It did have a weight limit, but I think the weight limit was far more than what we would hit. So we weren't too worried about that.
There's certain things that you can and can't put in skip bins. So just as an example, like any old school fibro, obviously anything with asbestos, we had to be really careful.
Yep. Yeah, so we kept all that very separate. We didn't even touch any of that stuff while we were putting them in the skip bin, just to make sure there was no possible contamination. Because what the bins will do is they'll charge you for an entire bin full of asbestos if they find one little piece. They don't just remove that piece, they'll charge you the entire lot.
Because it's a contaminated load.
Once we'd gotten all the flooring up, we started taking all the power out. So I turned off the switchboard, flicked off the main switch, pulled all the fuses, so there was no power inside the house. And then I got Makara to very skillfully and tactfully remove power points.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to remove power points. I'm going to need a flathead screw, some of these snips, hammer, drill. I'm just kidding, you're not going to need any of these. You just want to take your snips. You just want this one's a cut. And that's how you remove PowerPoint.
There is an art to it, which I learned. I thought I might have known it after my 15 years in the trade, but I learned a lot from Makara about PowerPoint removal, and just pulled all the switches off, pulled all the light fittings down, fully made it electrical safe. And we did pretty much the same with the plumbing. We turned the plumbing off at the street, and we cut and crimped over any of the pipe feeds that were going out to the shed.
And this was when we also discovered that our external plumbing was completely shot.
Unfortunately.
Like it was completely shot. When we purchased the house, every bathtub was full of water. The sinks were full of water. It was kind of odd. We didn't know what was going on. Later on, we figured out that the external root systems from all the vegetation that was so overgrown had basically fully invaded all of our external pipework.
We ended up realizing when we were trying to drain some things, we had a plumber come out, they get the inspection camera and try and see where the blockage is, and he found multiple blockages. Our old pipework was actually made of clay. The problem with the clay ones is they crack and the tree roots grow straight in and just blow that crack open, and then it grew like meters up and along.
It had also then invaded like all of our plastic pipes as well.
He's tried to jet it out, so they get really high pressure water, put it down there with the camera, and they just try and clear it out with high pressure water and blow out. If there was any little twigs or anything that was in there, it would have cleared it, but we had like full sized like
it was long gone.
It was gone skis. We ended up having to fix that.
Moving on from the plumbing though, we also then stripped out, they had a couple of old school fireplaces. So there was one that was bricked up here. So Tom got up there and knocked all the bricks out.
There was a 200 litre kerosene storage tank right next to the switchboard. It was still full, which was awesome. And that had a little drain that went under the house all the way and then back up to the fireplace in the front room. And then this one I think was a wood burn one.
Yeah, I think it was. I actually really liked it, but in terms of functionality, it was terrible.
Next up was pulling out the kitchen, which was quite a task. Pulling out the bench, all the cupboards, and Makara and I just went about that with basically a sledgehammer and
sledgehammer and a crowbar.
Sledgehammer and a crowbar, and just started kicking and ripping everything out. It was so far gone. There was nothing salvageable about it.
Yeah, nothing.
It was out of here. So we started ripping that up. That all ended up in the bin. It was kind of fun to do it, I'll be honest. The kitchen part was fun.
It was. We basically just flat packed everything. We popped it in the skip bin or put it out for council cleanup. So we then started removing all the cornice with like a big scraper tool. So we knocked all the cornice out. The roof space was full of dirt and dust and leaves and
like 50 years of just accumulated crap.
It was horrendous up there, so we didn't want to get all of that crap on the framework. So walls intact, dropped the ceiling.
And then me and Mitch came and helped for this day. We climbed up into the roof space and basically got up there with little mallets and just started pushing down where all the glue was, and the entire sheets were just dropping. We cleared the room, dropped 2 sheets, and then we had a few people, family members over as well, that were just picking the sheets up, taking it out to the skip, laying it all neat. We pretty much dropped the whole ceiling in like maybe a couple of hours.
The whole demo, how long do you reckon the whole internal demo took?
We did it a massive weekend. Remember we did 2 days that were like, they were monstrous days. And we spent probably majority of these 2 days literally just doing back and forth trips. It took forever to do that. Once the ceilings were all dropped, quick sweep up, tidy it up a bit, and then we just started pulling out all the walls. The internal walls you could just sort of push, get a little like sledgy and punch it out where you could see the glue mark was. So the glue is obviously what holds it to the wall. If you just sort of punch around that, it pops it, and then the whole sheet starts to fall.
Little hot tip, if you're ever demoing walls, try and break them off in really big pieces. Towards the end of this demo process, we were breaking off big pieces and it made it so much easier. After we dropped most of the walls and ceilings, we basically filled up that first 15 cubes skip bin pretty quick. So we had a second 15 cubes skip bin delivered. We basically packed it to the brim full of gyprock and glass and all sorts of things.
So after we got rid of all the gyprock, had chucked all that in the bin, all the tiles that we'd pulled out from the bathrooms, showers, all that sort of stuff, put that in the bin. Then we started it was fully me, jackhammered all of the tile off the flooring and the concrete slab. That job sucked. It is not fun for your back whatsoever. It's terrible. And I had to get the concrete level, so it was just jackhammering little pieces of concrete until the concrete was back to level with the old subfloor, just so that whatever we did down the track, I didn't have to get the jackhammer back out and do it again later on.
We had a really good system. So Tom was just jackhammering up all the tiles and I'd go behind him and collect everything. And we tried to keep things really clean as we were going, so it didn't just look like a bomb had gone off.
Yeah.
And that was the same when we were dropping the walls and the ceilings.
It's those like carry buckets were a lifesaver.
Yeah, where are they? Still to this day, we use these buckets. We have about 8 of them and we just fill them up with rubbish.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about these buckets. They got handles there. And we were just filling these with rubbish and doing trips constantly out. It made it really easy.
And another thing that was very helpful, trolleys were really helpful as well. So we were able to like stack up all the tough tubs and then wheel them out.
Next up to do, we had an old storage hot water tank. So it's a gravity fed hot water tank sitting literally above these cupboards in the roof space. I ended up just trying to slowly lower that and drop it out onto the old floor, and then we took it out the house. So we didn't want to leave it up there. I think we found a couple of old magazines, which was good reading.
Old school corn.
A bit of corn on the cob for everyone. That was just sitting up there. There was a pillow up there as well.
The more we stripped, the worse it got. And we found all sorts of things throughout the property, like
There was a breast pump.
bullets scattered throughout the entire property.
I forgot to mention, we also actually had a full bathroom in the garage. We ended up pulling that apart as well. White ants and termites that had affected a little part of it. So we ended up putting props up there just to keep it safe temporarily, and then we can go and address that when we're up to it.
And we also got a pest guy in, and he gave us a clearance too. So there was no
Yeah, we
more
did.
active white ants, which was a thumbs up.
And it was, things were okay. So
Yeah.
we got lucky a bit, but that was a gamble.
In and amongst this whole demo process, we were pulling out all the old cables, so all the old electrical wiring in the house, and all the old copper plumbing as well. So we kept all that. Hot tip, keep all your copper bits and pieces, because you can go to the scrap metal yard and scrap them. And we ended up with like $2.5 grand worth.
Yeah.
So we got that paid out, and we got rid of our rubbish too.
I had always planned on rewiring the whole house. I don't trust old house wiring. It's pretty bad, especially we knew that there was some rodents that had been in this house, like mice or rats, and they love chewing through cable, and there was a few signs that had happened.
We obviously have like a really old abandoned pool. It was a non-compliant pool, which also came with the house, and it came with like this old pool house situation. We got it tested. There was no asbestos in there, but we got rid of that as well.
And I think that pretty much filled the second skip in.
Total of 30 cubes we'd stripped out of the house.
Yeah, for the skip, and that's not including the council pickups,
Yeah.
and that's not including the red bin or the tip trips.
All of our disposal fees so far have come to about 10 grand. We got quotes for the internal demo, and it came in, I think it was like one at 30 and one at 40 grand. And we thought, oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm boring Tom, I think.
Sorry. Some will let you put fibro in them, some won't let you put any fibro in them, some will let you put asbestos, all sorts of things. So definitely shop around for a bin.
Rubbish disposal costs are definitely something to consider going into a project like this. Another hot tip for rubbish disposal is ring up your scrap metal guys around the area. We put all of our scrap metal in one pile out the front of the house, and he came and picked it all up.
He came out for free and just collects it, and he scraps it himself for money.
So as we mentioned earlier, the back of the house was the old school cypress pine flooring, It would have been really good if that had continued throughout the entirety of the house, but unfortunately it didn't. So I had the old chipboard, which was shot. We were originally going to just keep some of the pieces and remove the really old, moldy, damaged pieces. The house had this smell, and I don't know how to describe it.
Moldy, dank.
It was like damp cigarettes. It just stunk. And we ended up, I can't say
It's
that.
a bit yeah.
But we ended up having to pull up all of the chipboard and replace it.
Whatever we can do ourselves, we will do. And we didn't want to jump to any extremities. We didn't have the money. We still don't have the money to do any extreme things. So we're trying to keep costs as low as possible. If we didn't need to do a roof replacement, we wouldn't have done one. We just wanted to get away with the restoration, which is like 3 or 4 grand versus 30 or 40 grand. So all these little bits and pieces that we tried to do. When we originally bought the house, there was a big moldy patch in the ceiling. We thought we would just cut that out, replace that piece, keep the rest of it. We sort of ended up, the longer this went on, realizing we're going to be better off ripping everything out. Yes, it's going to cost more money. We're going to end up doing it ourselves, and it's going to take more time, but
that's okay.
And at least at the end of the journey, we're going to have a nice product that we're happy to live in. It's something we can actually be proud of.
Making sure that you're taking on jobs that you think you can do. So just as an example, one of the jobs we didn't do was our asbestos removal. Same with our roof. We had a team come in, they disposed of all our roof tiles and replaced it professionally. So those things we didn't trust ourselves with. However, Tom, being a licensed electrician, he rewired the house, demoing the house we were able to take on ourselves.
The physical labor, any of the physical labor
yeah.
stuff we did, and we had a lot of family and friends that came for the demo.
Oh, family and friends, lean on them.
Shout out to them, but
Please,
we had a lot of people come for that, and that helped.
We wouldn't have gotten through this project without our family and friends.
We've been very lucky.
We are very, very lucky.
I'll put a running cost, because this is the first episode that really cost us money. All the bins, the asbestos removal, tips, everything removal, I'll do that. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching the whole video. We have a bunch of fun clips from the demo that we want to show you as well. It's hard to upload all of it on TikTok and Instagram.
Enjoy. you guys can see, but it says manufactured without asbestos. That's good. We like that. It's very good.
If you have any questions, guys, let us know for sure and we will address them. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do everything you're meant to do to these videos. We're new to it, so we're still working it out. But thanks everyone who supported. We've already got a bunch of subscribes and we're extremely grateful for you guys. And yeah, hopefully we can get one of these out every 3 full weeks and just try and get more consistent with it. It takes a long time to go through the footage. We have so much footage from this. Hopefully we can bring you the best of it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Mwah. For that. Oh, recording.